Lightfall is out, and again, a new expansion raises the level cap. This time we're headed to 1800 for the powerful cap and 1810 for the pinnacle. So let's relearn how to level. I'll make a note about artifact levels at the end of the video. This is strictly for earning gear. Destiny veterans and people who have been playing recently, I am here to say that leveling still works in the exact same way as it did in Witch Queen and basically all seasons prior. I'm literally using the skeleton of the Witch Queen leveling video for this video, but in case you need a refresher, keep watching. The level caps for Lightfall are 1750, 1800, and 1810. The floor is 1600, meaning everything that you will get will be at least 1600. From 1600 to 1750, pretty much every single item that drops from anywhere in the game is going to get you more power. Blues, purples, exotics, whatever you happen to find, you will gain levels up until you hit 1750, which is the soft cap. From 1750 to 1800, you're going to want to complete powerful and pinnacle reward sites. The farther you are from 1800, the less it really matters which one you do, but keep in mind that to get above 1800, only pinnacle rewards will work, not powerfuls. If you're in the first weekend of expansion, honestly maybe even first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on how much you're playing, you're probably not going to be hitting the pinnacle cap anytime soon, so, you know, go nuts. Honestly, just go nuts until you're around high 90s, and even then, you can probably still just go nuts, do as much as you can if you're on your first character or you only have one character. Let's say you're brand new, 1600 power, you're just starting the campaign. What's the best way to level up? It's going to be doing the legendary campaign of Lightfall first. The main reason is because once you complete the legendary version of the campaign, you will be given gear at 1770 power in every slot, which is 20 levels higher than the soft cap. You essentially get to skip 20 power levels of grinding, which is a lot of powerful reward site grinding. The only downside is that if you're a brand new player, doing the legendary campaign is a little tough, especially if you're playing by yourself. Based on the feedback that I've seen, the Lightfall campaign is a bit harder than the Witch Queen one as a solo player. You likely won't have a ton of good guns or gear, and it might be a significant struggle for you depending on your skill level. I would highly advise trying to find a group for doing the legendary campaign if you are new, or just finding people for certain missions where you are struggling. But if it becomes too much of a struggle, which it might if you're a brand new player, then I would just stick with the normal campaign and don't stress yourself out. Don't worry too much about infusing gear. The newer of a player you are, the less you should worry about it. Just throw on the highest power level gear that you own as you get it. Regardless of how far you get in the campaign, 1750 is the goal. If the game is anything like it was last year, which I don't assume any changes happened, I don't think the game will even allow you to see powerful reward sites until you're at 1750, so that you're not accidentally doing powerful rewards before that level. If you have a second and third character, I think you should run them through the legendary campaign as well, as long as you have the capabilities to. You get double drops in legendary versus only one drop in normal. It's just better efficiency. But again, if you struggled with the legendary campaign, just get as far as you can go. Once you start noticing a significant slowing down of upgrades while doing the campaign on a second or third character, feel free to swap to powerful reward sites or the normal mode campaign just to get it done. Note that your highest level gear never needs to be equipped on your character to get the highest level rewards, but gear for different classes does not count for this rule, only weapons. For example, if your Titan has a bunch of high level armor, this is not going to impact your Warlock's drops. But if your Titan has a bunch of high level weapons, then they will impact the drops of your other characters, since all characters can use all guns, whereas Hunters can't exactly use Titan armor, and Warlocks can't use Hunter armor, etc., etc. Now let's say you're 1750 or you're 1770 because you did the legendary campaign. This is where progress is going to slow. The best way to level from here, really the only way, is to do these powerful and pinnacle reward sites that I was talking about. You want to look for this sort of star icon. If a destination has this symbol, then there is some kind of activity in that destination that can give you a powerful drop, or even a pinnacle drop. Powerful rewards can be tier 1, 2, or 3. Tier 1 gives the lowest level upgrade at around +3. Tier 3 gives the highest at +5. Pinnacles are also +5. There aren't many tier 3 powerfuls in the game anymore though, they're kind of rare. Powerful reward sites as of the launch of Lightfall include the following: doing 8 bounties for Zavala, Shaxx, the Drifter, and Banshee, aka Vanguard Ops, Crucible, Gambit, and the Gunsmith. Giving 20 commendations gives you a tier 2 powerful from Hawthorne. On Neomuna, the Metropolitan Defense and Nimbus Reputation challenges also give a powerful reward. There are also some one-off powerful rewards for rebuilding the memorials in the Hall of Heroes. Dares of Eternity continues to give powerful rewards. Prime engrams will also periodically drop during gameplay. These should be decrypted pretty much as soon as possible. They count as a higher tier powerful drop. The competitive PvP playlist used to be one of the best ways to level up, as you could get a lot of powerfuls for increasing your rank, but due to the restructuring of the ranking system, this is not really as efficient anymore. I don't even know if it's even that good anymore to do in the first place. There are what feels like more Pinnacle reward sites than powerful now. Vanguard, Gambit, and Crucible all have Pinnacle rewards. Vanguard Ops Playlist gives a Pinnacle after doing 3 activities with a subclass matching the Surge of the week, or I guess the Season 2, getting 200,000 points in Nightfall, playing 3 Gambit matches, and playing 3 Crucible matches. Legend Dares of Eternity is a Pinnacle. There is a weekly featured raid and dungeon that rotates every week. The final boss of each rewards a Pinnacle. For this very first week of Lightfall, it's Last Wish and Prophecy, just as an example. But again, these will rotate. Spire of the Watcher, for those who own that dungeon, is still a Pinnacle until the next dungeon releases a few months from now. In the Helm, Season 20 content, both in the form of bounties and the activity itself, give a Pinnacle. The Battleground Pinnacle takes 3 completions, and after that turns into a Tier 3 powerful, and then another Tier 3 powerful. And Neptune has 2 Pinnacles, the weekly story mission and Partition hard reset when you unlock the prerequisite. Some vendors along their rep track also have very high level rewards that you should pull when possible. The new raid will also drop Pinnacle rewards. This is usually the most efficient use of your time when trying to get Pinnacles. The main plan here is to get one character as high as possible by doing all of their powerfuls and their Pinnacles, and then moving your guns to alternate characters if you have them, doing all of their powerfuls and Pinnacles, and then doing that again for your third character, again if you have one. Then, when reset rolls around, you do it all again. You're doing all your powerfuls and your Pinnacles on every character, as many as you can. If you're grinding for the day 1 raid, it is generally a better idea to start with your main character, then alternate 1, then alternate 2, and then the following week you start with alternate 2, alternate 1, and then your main again. The game used to have a lot more diversity in terms of powerful gear, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, but nowadays a lot of those have either been bumped up to Pinnacle outright or dropped down to tier 1, so I'm not really going to go too in-depth with tier 1 versus tier 2 because for 99% of you watching this, it's not really going to matter. Now, if you want to get really fancy with your leveling, the variance in your power levels on individual armor pieces and even weapons can be a factor. However, this doesn't really matter that much at all if you only have one character, and I would only do this strategy if I had 2 or more characters, and even then, it's pretty optional. I can't stress that enough. It's just for some pretty small optimizations. Generally speaking, if the variance in your power levels on your equipment is very low, you want to go for a Pinnacle reward. Let's say you're 1780 power, and most of your gear is 1779, 80, 81. Not a very wide variance. It's only 2 levels difference. A Pinnacle is going to be better because Pinnacle rewards give a higher boost in level. I think it's still +5. And because your variance is so low, you're going to maximize the strength of that upgrade. You can go from a 1779 piece to a 1785 piece in one go. That's a lot. But if it hits your 1781 piece, you're still getting 4 levels, which is still pretty good. But then, let's say you're me, after day 1, 1773, but my lowest is 1770 and my highest is 1777. That's a big range. That's a range of 7. If I do a Pinnacle reward, and I get a power weapon, which is currently my highest level item, it's only going to drop at 1778, which is +1, which for a Pinnacle, it's pretty bad. This is when I'd want to go for a powerful drop or even pulling a reward from a vendor to try to bring up my lower level gear. However, as always, RNG is a cruel mistress and can make or break your drops no matter how much you try to optimize. So don't stress too much if your leveling pattern isn't perfect. At the end of the day, doing more reward sites unoptimized is likely to be better than doing fewer but more optimized reward sites. Veteran players may know of the bluing up technique for leveling. However, with the removal of blues from the game after hitting the soft cap and the retooling of vendor systems, bluing up is not really a thing anymore, which is something I'm not sad to see go away. It created a really obnoxious playstyle and leveling intricacy that I did not enjoy engaging with in the slightest. While it did enable people to level up really high in a single week with a lot of playtime, it's probably for the best that it's not really that much of a thing anymore. There might be a couple of reward sites here and there that still allow you to do this, but if you're a newer player or don't really have as much time to play, you can pretty much just ignore that whole paragraph. When it comes to artifact levels, which are also important, but independent of gear level, experience is everything, and the best source of experience are the weekly challenges for the season. Artifact levels are simply bonus levels on top of your gear for just playing the game and getting XP, but are needed to reach the highest levels possible for very end game activities like Master and Grandmaster content. So in short, do your Powerfuls and your Pinnacles on all characters every week as much as you can. Every single thing that you can do it. Ultimately, most people are not going to have the time to fully optimize everything that they can possibly do when it comes to getting gear, so just go for volume. It's better to run a bunch of stuff and not get as good upgrades than it is to try to plan to do activities in the most optimal path and then never get around to actually doing them in the first place. So, volume is everything. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.